where your
Correct.
experience plays a major role.
Yeah, it does, because what happens is otherwise it goes endless. There are many products to use. Everything looks good.
If your design studio, Kal Design, had a theme song,
Aja. I would tell this to all the clients.
like finding your previous home in your new home. This is how you can say it.
I wouldn't say previous home and new home. Home remains home. It's just the way you look at it.
Max Services presents KYAD. Know your architect/designer.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Guide, Know Your Architect/Designer. My name is Zaid Khan. I'm your host. I think the journey has been beautiful. It's the 7th episode that we're shooting with one of the renowned design architect, and I'll give you a brief about what it is all about. I have with me today Sharan. Sharan has been with us for I think almost 3-4 podcasts now, and if you don't know him yet, you have to go and see the other podcast as well. I have Pulin Shah, who's a design architect, and he's going to give us a brief about what design architect is. He's founder at Kal Design. He's also a visiting faculty at Rachana Sansad School, and he's with us here today. So let's dig into it. How are you, sir?
Very well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me for the podcast.
Pleasure, sir. Pleasure. How are you today?
Very well. I mean, it's my first time coming on social media, and it's nice. It's fun. I mean, I'm here to give out a lot of stories
Please.
about my journey, especially where the design faculty, any designer, what he faces through his earlier days, fun days, tough days, and eventually he becomes something in life.
We want to start. This is what we normally start. We want to understand how were you as a kid, and how did your schooling days go, and why architectural and interior designing.
So I come from a family background where our business was timber. So I see a lot of architects coming in buying timber from my shop in Mumbai. So we were primarily into plywood, timber. My father used to import a lot of timber from Africa. So I used to see these guys. So during my holidays, free time, we had to spend time at the shop and interact with clients or deliveries and all. So that time I used to see a lot of architects coming in. So that inspired me a lot. That I don't want to get into this same old shit old business. So rather do something creative. And sometimes what I felt was that this is what I want to be. So since the 8th I remember, I had made up my mind that I was very focused. I want to be a designer.
Okay.
So it's a very different situation. Once what happened was we had delivered some material to one of the architect's site, and apparently what happened was the challan was not signed. So my dad he said, why don't you go to site? It's pretty close by. You go there and you get it signed. So I was young. I went, and suddenly I see on the wall all the sketches by the designer. The famous architect called Pitawala. I remember. He was doing a house at Silver Beach Apartments in Shivaji Park. I very well remember that
good
moment.
memory.
Yeah, because that moment changed my whole perspective. So I saw all the sketches on the wall. I said, wow, this is really fun. And then I saw all the carpenters working and this and that. So then I came back, and then it just went through. Then again we got occupied with school and all. And again, the term of, where dad says, okay, come on, it's free time, you have to come back to join the family business.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was, trust me, very boring. So I told my dad, okay, when I passed my 10th, I am very clear, I want to get into designing. So he was quite surprised. So he never said no. I said, okay, fine. Since you don't want to, I'm the only son in the family, and we have a big business to run. So he was a bit nervous about it. But he said, okay, fine, let's take a chance. And then that's how my journey started. So initial 2 years I did my college in Podar. And then after that I joined Raheja and I studied there. And then the whole journey began from there.
So I think while completing your, I think you've done your interior designing.
Yes, I've done many.
After that, I think the first company that you worked with, we want to understand about.
So I did my intern at Chande and Associates.
Okay.
Again, he was a client of my dad. So he just called him up that my kid has to intern. We have to intern for 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he just called him. So he said, yeah, send him over. And I remember the office was in Bandra near the lake. And I was blank. It was like a first job kind of a thing, non-paid job where you have to work for free. And how typical our business is all about. Interns are never paid on. Nowadays we start paying, but
Agreed.
earlier
Yeah.
days
Agreed.
you
Lot of
have to
things have
work for
changed.
free. And so I started learning. So he was more into architecture, not interiors. But still, I used to see the draftsmen drafting. So that time we didn't have computers. Everything was on the board. So it was old school. So a lot of hard work. I mean, making a drawing, erasing, that perfection of lines. So it's very difficult. And then 6 months went through, and then the time for to get a job. So I remember my uncle knew Mr. Talati, where this is where I started my whole career, you can say. My journey and my school was Talati and Pantaki early on days. Now it's Talati and Partners. So I remember that he called me at his house, at his residence, where Mr. Talati and Mr. Pantaki both were there. And so, like, how you passed out from school, you take your drawings and all. So I carried my whole kit and all. So I said, like, sir, these are my drawings. And he just said, doesn't matter, you start from tomorrow. But Mr. Pantaki was very keen, wanted to see all the drawings. So I remember those days, I was not good at sketching, but I was very good at color rendering and all. So he was asking me, what is this, what is that? And then I remember Mr. Talati telling me, Noza Javade, let him come from tomorrow. So this is how the whole thing started. And then the next day I go to the office and I'm waiting for 4 hours at the reception.
Okay.
Oh.
So there was a gentleman called Mr. Rohington,
Hmm.
and he was assisting Mr. Talati that time.
Okay.
So he said, Mr. Talati has called me
Yeah.
to join here. So he said, you please wait, sir is not here.
Yeah.
So I very well remember the first day, I waited for 4 hours, and then he came in.
Okay.
And then he said, sir, I had come yesterday. Arey, why didn't you call me? He was so spontaneous and so chilled out.
Yeah.
So anyways, so he said, okay, you can go to the other section, the designing section. And that's when I started my whole process with Mr. Noza Pantaki, who was the MD that time, and started the whole designing process. And then 2 days I was working with him, and then suddenly Mrs. Firoza Kavaran comes in. So she said, you'll be joining me. She was a senior associate. And she said, you can join me now and you can start the projects, start working on the projects in Bombay. So yeah, this is my journey where it started.
Quick question I have here, because I introduced you as a design architect.
Yes.
I want to understand from there. I want to take that page of where you have joined recently. It's 2-3 days in Talati to today, where you're a design architect. That we call it. It's a new term for me as well. That's the first time that I'm hearing this. Can you take us through that journey and then explain what is design architect also?
So I always wanted to be an architect. I'm being very frank. But I could not get into architecture because of I didn't score well. In back those days, we had to score well, we had to take up science, a lot of issues were there. And then I could not take up architecture. And I always my dream that I wanted to do architecture more. So gradually, over the period of times when I worked with Talati Pantaki for almost 11 years. I was an associate for like 6 years or 5 years. I did not do architecture, but I always was connected with architects because whatever villas we used to do, there used to be a sink. So the details, the proportions were always there backhand. And Talati Pantaki is a school. Like
It's a
Even if you don't
university
go
is what I'll call
to,
it now.
yeah,
Yeah.
even if you don't go to a college, if you go there directly, like I know so many people working there, they are commercial artists and they have become designers now, you know. So it's a process where you learn details, you learn proportions, styling, taste, quality, color, everything, you know. So I learned it that way. And then when I quit there, I started my own. I said I must start architecture. So I started only designing the whole structure of it. So why design architect is normally interior designer is called interior architect. I said let's rephrase this statement. Design architect means I design the structure. I don't get detailed into it, you know, the nitty gritties of it, like the technical part. So that's why I named it as a design architect. So I said I thought it was a new term, a fresh term,
Of
and
course,
in a
yes.
different, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it is
rather than
quite
have
different.
a typical a name to it, a tag to it. So everybody would ask me this: why a design architect? So there was a chance of a conversation and knowing things also, you know.
Correct. Even I think for us also,
It's a new term.
it's a
Yeah.
Yes,
new
Yeah.
yes.
term
Yeah.
that we got to hear from you.
So internationally, you always see when an interior designer is there, he always writes as interior architect. If you have seen, or an interior designer, nobody writes as a design architect. So architect is a very general term where architecture you studied and you become an architect. But design architect, you specialize in architecture of design. So this is my thought process, and I
Because I think this is something which is inspiring for people also who have done interior designing, and they do a lot of structural work as well, and they've just given that term, and
there are
design
many.
architect
You'll
is
be surprised in
yeah.
India. There are so many interior designers who do architecture because it's an experience. See, as long as you have good experience, you can do anything and everything. I mean, design is just a term, you know. I mean, like the fashion designers have become interior designers. You see.
It's the process, I
Yeah,
think, where
yeah,
they
yeah.
learn everything.
I have two questions. I don't know which one I should ask first. I'll go with Cal because it's a very English name for me.
Yeah.
Cal Design. Can you brief us a little bit about Cal
So
Design?
Cal is another story to it actually.
Perfect. Okay, we're ready.
So 5 years, yeah, I think before COVID, 5 years back, I started a project in Calcutta. So that's where the whole story started. So for a while, you know, I had joined up with Kiran Shetty as a designer. So we were trying and setting up things if things are working, and that's where our first project started in Calcutta. A new city for me. I've done projects in Chennai, Hyderabad, and all over India. You know, so Calcutta was a new city for me, and we finished a project in Calcutta, and then we parted ways out. You know, and then after that, I started getting more projects in Calcutta. So initially, I used to work under my name, you know. So my wife was like, "Why don't you start with a brand name, you know? Why don't you have a brand name? And why not Calcutta? KL is for Calcutta. Also, I'm a follower of Kali Mata a lot. So all synced well, and also the whole term defines as king of all designs. So I made it short. It's a bit cliche, but
No, no, it is
So,
good.
so
Nice.
I thought it's really smart and it fit well with the words, with the city, and yeah. So that's how Cal Designs was evolved. You know, it generated, and then yeah, it's going on since then.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I again have two questions now because you have answered something, but I'll go to the first question first.
Sure.
How important it is to have an exposure with a institute like Talati? How does it frame you as a person, as a design, as a designer, as an architect? How does it frame you? Because a lot of people are studying and then they come up to a level which is interior designing and
Right.
architecture. Working in an office, I think it's the exposure is very important. This is what I feel. But I want to understand from you, sir. What do you feel about
So I would not say not required anymore because the time has changed.
it?
When
Perfect.
we used to work, there was no technology.
yes,
Correct.
Now everything is on just a button.
Correct.
correct.
You want any design, you have Happy Pinterest, all the apps. I mean,
Yeah,
now AI is coming in.
Yeah.
So as a designer, it's become very easy for one to implement things.
Correct.
And you have superb contractors now. Back in our days, we didn't have efficient contractors. Design source was not available. We had to generate things
Yeah.
on paper. We didn't have CAD, AutoCAD. So it was very difficult for us back old days. Now it's very easy for I think the new designers which I see, they have an experience of 1 or 2 years and they started on their own.
Agreed.
Yes.
So I don't think they require a backbone or like a profile unless until they want to really learn the detailing of everything,
Agreed.
Yeah.
because designing is all about detailing.
Correct.
Yeah. So it all depends on your forte. What do you want to learn, or you don't want to learn, or you want to start your car straight away. It's all on that.
Nice.
So it's very easy now.
Yeah.
Things are very different now. The whole perspective of designing has changed.
But initial those 1-2 years also is important to experience with someone who's veteran in industry.
Yeah,
is
that's
important.
when you intern. I mean, 6 months you intern, you get a hang of it, because everything is very easy now. I mean, like I know few designers who are not good at detailing. I mean, they tell me, we are not, this is not our design, I mean, our strength, but our strength is our design. So they hire a good contractor who implements things for them. So it becomes very easy for them. And it's also in you if you really want to learn designing, detailing. It's all on you. Like we are kidas, we create details. Like we travel Europe, we see the details. They are masters of detailing, especially Italy and Paris and Spain and all. The things what they create details. So we as designers, because we have learned how to create a detail. So we would want to learn. So my passion is to create a detail than a design. A design can be done anyhow, but a detail is very difficult to create.
Nice insight on
I
that part.
think, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think coming to designing part,
Yeah.
so I would like to ask you something, that while designing a house, so do you think of a product first and then design a house and then you think of a product to be applied?
Firstly, it all depends on the client, how your
Okay.
client is.
Yeah.
So nowadays, you have n number of products.
Correct.
It's difficult for one to follow or use every kind of a product.
Yeah.
So it all depends on your style, what you want to create.
Correct.
Say for example, if I'm using fiandre,
Yeah.
okay, I will follow lines of fiandre for a bathroom design or a wall cladding.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to use a fiandre and a fondewall together.
Correct.
I will follow the pattern and the journey of the fiandre in my design.
Okay.
Also, the second thing is cost has become very important now.
Yeah.
Earlier days, a client would never compare a product or ask for an alternative.
Yeah.
Though we are in the luxury segment, a client would, I'm being very frank, if we look at a Brazilian granite,
Yeah.
okay, say 4,000 rupees a square feet or
Yeah.
5,000 rupees a square feet, he would still ask me, do we have an alternative?
Yeah.
In back old days, nobody used to ask because the accessibility was limited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't have much products and we had to use what we got.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, and after 25 years of the career, you have to pitch it to the client.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to dictate rather. I mean, not dictate, I would say. You have to tell the client, okay, use this. I know it's not going to look good.
Where your
Correct.
experience plays a major
Yeah,
role.
it does. Because what happens is, otherwise it goes endless. There are many products to use. Everything looks good. It's how you use it. I'm not saying this product is good or this product is bad. Every product is good. It's how you use it. That is very important. And it should fit into your design palette. That is very important.
I have a very basic question,
Yeah.
Pulin Shah, because I've seen your Instagram, I've seen your work, and trust me, it's been years that I've been following your work. It's not. If you see my Instagram, also, it's been followed to you from a very long time. So, I want to ask you a very basic question. What is home to you?
Home. So me as in personally me,
Personally
you.
designing anything is
Anything
fine.
in design
Because
terms.
what you feel personally comes out in your design. This is what I feel.
no. So I'll tell you, I do these flashy houses, luxury homes. But personally, I would love to have a simple home, use Indian stones, Indian materials, very rustic, because I see that every day, I create luxury every day. I don't want to, back home when I come home, I don't want to see that luxury because I want to have a break from it. Like when we travel for holidays, all these resorts, and I would love to have a rustic home. I am planning to have a beautiful rustic home in Alibag, my second home now, where it'll be nature, all nature, away from all the flashy things to me.
Nice, nice. So, when it comes to a client, what is home to you? If you're doing it for a client, I understand one part which is for you. It is.
So so when I start a project, I have a questionnaire for a client. Okay, this is what I do for all my projects. It's a Google form. They have it's around 30 questions are there in it. Individual, a husband, wife, and the kid has to fill in, or even the parent. It's compulsory because it's not about just designing a home, transforming their lifestyle into something.
Okay.
Correct.
So many times a client is living in a three bedroom house. He's going into a bigger space. So the whole lifestyle changes. So I don't want to change his daily routine. So that is where the form comes in. So he has to write, for example, morning he wakes up at this so and so hour. What is his routine? Does he do a puja or does he have breakfast at this time? His hobbies. What does he would like to do on a Sunday? All basic small things.
How's your daily
Is he
lifestyle?
tidy with his bathroom? Is he tidy in his cupboard? Or he's not tidy? Is the servant taking care of his cupboard? All small things. So, when he moves into this new house, we can adapt he doesn't have to change his whole process. He's happy with what he's doing. Because when a person is used to a certain lifestyle, say 25 years or 20 years or 15 years or even 5 years, he doesn't want to change his daily routine. He wants to follow his process. He's just getting into a new zone. So this is very important for a designer to understand this is the basic need of a client. Look and feel is a separate thing altogether.
Like finding your previous home in your new home. This is how you can say it.
I wouldn't say previous home and new home. Home remains home. It's just the way you look at it. You're getting into a better space where new things are adapted. So your life becomes smoother and happier.
Nice. It's a very important thing I think what you've mentioned, because a lot of people that we've discussed with, I think
Yeah.
this thing is what I
And
feel.
trust me, so many times they don't fill the forms. They are too lazy. So I have to bang on. I said, without that, I'm not starting a project. Because what happens is, in the due process of a project, they are suddenly, no, this is not what I want. Then things go haywire. You have to change everything. So it's better to have that data from the beginning. We follow that. That whole sheet is followed. And things become easier and faster for a project to get complete also.
Correct. So you have to do that nagging.
Yeah.
I have to be after them, trust me. I mean, the kids are very prompt, but the parents are very slow, very slow. I mean, they're like, why would I? So it's like, why are you getting into my life? I said, no, I want to get into your life. I want to know. Because then things will become easier for me to design and implement.
We spoke about Cal Design, and this is where I had a question still in my mind. You spoke about you follow Kali Mata, and I think that's a spiritual end to your.
Yes. I'm a very spiritual guy.
Okay.
I want to understand how does it help you in terms of your professional career being spiritual. This is a little off the tangent, but I want to ask you this.
See, me as a designer, when a designer has a project, he's interacting with 100 people at a time. I mean, various contractors from the upper level to the lower level. I mean, this is how I work. I go on to the projects on sites. We talk to the guys why this is not done. In India, I would say things are still not professional in that way. It's a very contractor-driven market where I mean, there are issues. So what happens is you lose your cool. When you lose your cool, the best part is spiritual guidance. It just mellows you down, keeps you calm, and it has a balance of everything.
Nice. So you meditate and you take care
So
of
I
it?
pray. I visit temples, of course, but I pray every day. A bit of 30 seconds to God. I think what He has given us, give back to back to Him. It's a must. Yeah, it's a small thing. It's not. It is. It makes me feel happy. This is what I do.
So, coming to the next segment, so how is your design philosophy? Like, we know that now there is a part that, okay, you want your home in certain way,
Right.
but design philosophy for the client,
Right.
how it is to be. Like you said, you want it to be flashy. So,
Right.
can we put more light on that flashy
Sure.
things or luxurious things on?
So I always, before we start a project,
Yeah,
we generally show pictures to the client,
correct,
or we take them around to our projects.
correct.
So my every project is different.
Okay.
Okay,
Though the luxury part is there,
yeah,
but there are certain projects I designed in a different style depending on
okay,
the client. Like I remember we just finished a house. He's one of the executive directors at Morgan Stanley.
Okay.
wow,
Okay, so he's a corporate guy.
yeah,
Hmm.
Okay, so his house has to be very corporate because the people coming in, they're all MNCs.
Yeah.
correct,
So it has a different style line.
yeah,
Hmm.
Then I just finished another house in Calcutta, a very, very different and good project. He's a typical Guju guy in Calcutta.
okay,
Okay. Very nice person, very humble person.
yeah,
But he wanted wow.
flashy,
Okay.
yeah,
Not flashy, I would say.
but wow
Oh,
thing,
wow.
Okay.
He wanted to use all the brands.
okay,
Because it was always a dream. He used to tell me, Pulin bhai, I want to use Bocado Lobo, for example,
Okay.
as a brand.
yeah,
Okay, I've always dreamed of using one particular thing of this brand.
Hmm.
okay,
So he used to tell me, and then we used in the project.
Nice.
So it all depends on the client and his personality.
yeah,
So I design spaces as per the client's personality.
Okay.
Then I asked them, do you want me to go out of the way and do it this way? I asked them.
okay,
Because certain clients are very simple. And when they're getting into a bigger space and a better space,
yeah,
sometimes they want to,
explore things,
not
yeah,
show. I mean, show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, this is what I am now.
yeah,
I want to, as a different level now, I'm at a different level.
Mhm.
They want to show it to the society. So I ask them, do you want it that way?
Mhm.
So some few of them say, no, yes, I want to show, of course. I have the money, I want to show it. So this
Correct.
is how I design spaces. So it all depends on the client.
I mean, that's a good insight what we got.
For me is one thing, you can design spaces, but the client should be happy about it.
At the end
Your
of the
win-win
day,
situation is when a client is 100% happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, he is never happy.
Yeah.
I mean,
a human need is never
20,
satisfied.
25 years of my career, I would say there's a gap of 5%, I would say,
Okay.
where a human is not content.
Yeah,
But overall, as a picture, you see, he should be happy, and people coming in should be happy. That is
Yeah.
more important now,
Yeah.
because
People come and say.
people come in, talk about. That is how we get work.
correct,
I mean, the more they talk,
Yeah.
The more you get.
the whole projects are flown.
Agreed.
Correct,
It's passed on to,
correct.
and then eventually the client is happy.
Yeah. Nowadays, no, you have to be like a people pleaser. It should be a people pleaser space.
Yeah.
Correct.
Absolutely.
So now moving on to the design, which project is close to your heart?
Oh, every project is close to my heart.
I mean, there will be
I
one
mean,
specific.
so there was this one project in Calcutta. So I remember before COVID, we started the project. It was a bungalow, and the deadline was 11 months. Okay, for interiors. Architecture was already done. So for interiors was 11 months. I would say 14,000 square feet, and it was empty, bare shell. And the reason was there's a timeline because the client's son was getting engaged. So we started the projects, 3 months happened and COVID hit. So nothing can be done. So I took it as a challenge. So client said, now what to do? So I told the client, I have promised you 11 months. Give me 2 months grace because of COVID. Because I can't do anything. I can't get out of Bombay. We are in lockdown, you know. So I remember as soon as the lockdown lifted, I moved to Calcutta for a month. I stayed there for a month because things were shut here. And there things were open, but we could only work, we could not move around, but the contractors were staying in the bungalow, and 100, I remember 120 people were staying in the bungalow, the contractors, they could not move out. So I said, let's start the project, why you are shut? You are living there, you are making your food, your groceries will come in, why stop it? And I remember I moved in for a month. I came back for 2 weeks. Again, I moved in for a month. And we handed over in 12 months. That so this is what something I would say that when I commit something, I would love to fulfill it. Because I always work on timelines. It's not that projects are gone for years and years, you know. I have a timeline for a project because the spice of the project is in the timeline. The sooner you finish, the spicier it is. I mean, the more you elaborate, I mean, drag the project, then because the products also become old. Everything is changing every 6 months, you know. I mean, 8 months, this product is gone, something new has come. So if a project is dragged on for 2 years, then the whole spice is gone. So I always tell the client, you have to keep yourself prepared with your financials and your decisions. You have to be like on, you know, heads on. Like today, if I ask you something, in a week's time, I need the approvals so that we can finish it off ASAP, you know. And it's also time is money, yeah. I mean, he's also saving eventually. The faster the project, faster he gets in to a project, he moves into a project, it's better for him also.
Speaking about that project, I think you're discussing about the project in Calcutta. What is that you have, because the viewers want to get an image, because now you'll have a video also shown of the project which is right next to it. Can you explain a little more about that project? What is the color palette all about and what is the project all about?
So it's an apartment, okay, where we have used all the various Italian and Spanish brands, and it's a 4-bedroom apartment in Calcutta, one of the finest areas of Calcutta called Baliganj, and it's a high-rise overlooking the entire Calcutta city. So the color palette is very earthy. Okay, we have popped up with a certain furniture design line. Like we use Roche Papua furniture, we used Poltrano for sofas. You know, we add in accents, and then lighting is from various brands, Mazero and all. Because he's a very brand conscious person. He always believes in quality. He doesn't want to use a substandard product. He wants to use a brand because he's saying this house is a lifetime for me now. I'm not going to build another house. So I rather spend now forever, you know, or rather spend every 5 years where things break down or, you know, you have to do it up. So we use best of the materials. Lot of detailing is there. Lot of products have been imported specially from various parts of the world, and we have wisely spent. It's not that we have gone overboard, but certain elements we use switches in the bathroom, the glass mosaic, uh, where he really wanted to use that, you know, that because uh, he always heard about Murano. So we not spend on the showpiece of Murano. We rather use stitches, you know. So we used a balance of everything, and yeah, I mean somehow everything fell in place, and the project is wow now. Yeah, in fact, I think it was featured in AD also.
I think we're done with the design philosophy, but I had this question in mind because I introduced you as a visiting faculty at Rachana.
Yes.
Want to understand that bit also from you. What is your visiting at Rachana all about?
So back old days, I was called at Rachana as a jury, external jury. I think when Mr. Prasad Badle was the principal. So a couple of times he called me as an external jury. So then somehow I felt I need to give back to the society. I mean, also learn from these guys. These kids are amazing, I must tell you. So I think since 2-3 years I've been visiting the college as a faculty member.
Okay.
And this year, thanks to Aishana ma'am, who is the current principal, she introduced a subject called luxury design.
Okay.
And so this course is opted by the students.
Okay.
So there's a batch of 15 students who chose this subject,
Okay.
and I'm heading the subject.
Nice.
Nice.
So this is purely luxury because since the whole shift of design philosophy is going to luxury,
Yeah.
Agreed.
everybody is using luxury products. I said this particular subject would be really good for the students who are passing out. They'll be passing
interesting.
out this year, stepping out for a job or starting their own thing. So they should be aware of various products, how luxury works,
Correct.
because the whole mathematics is different of a luxury and a budgeted project.
Agreed.
Correct.
So yeah, it's fun and they are loving it. Trust me.
Yeah.
And I'm sure when they come out, any designer to pick them for a job will be very easy.
Yeah.
Because any good designer who's doing luxury, they have been well trained and taught.
Yeah.
In
Correct.
fact, I've been taking them around to various showrooms like yours
Yeah.
Okay.
to get a knowledge of it, physical experience,
Correct.
Very
round
important.
trips everywhere, field trips, site trips, luxury projects.
Yeah.
So they are learning everything,
Correct.
And the projects what they have to do
Yeah.
for their final portfolio is also a luxury project.
Okay.
So they are all evolving in luxury.
Nice.
So I've asked them to visit all the stores in Palladium,
Yeah.
the Gucci store
Yeah.
and everywhere. They visited there.
Okay.
They visited one of my luxury projects in Bombay.
Okay.
Okay.
They visited various brands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, I would love to
Please.
call them here also.
Please.
For
They
sure.
can see various products.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just, I think, 3 weeks left now for their final portfolio.
Okay.
Okay.
But I'm sure I can make a
Please, sir.
tour
Will be
for
Anytime.
them, so
Yeah,
they
yeah.
will get a knowledge,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fun. It's. I mean, trust me, I learn a lot from them also
Correct.
because their design sense is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's out of the box,
Okay.
Yeah.
and everybody has their own thought process.
Yeah.
So it's nice. It's a good journey.
Nice.
Yeah, I think this was only there in the fashion industry.
Yeah.
Luxury was only considered in the fashion industry.
Mm.
Yeah,
And I think
probably,
this
yeah.
is
Yeah.
this is the first time what I'm getting to know from you that if they have come out with a subject,
Yes.
it's I think commendable
I
that
think
even architects and
every
everyone,
college should do that.
yeah, every college
Yeah.
should do that. That they have come up with a subject,
Yeah.
luxury as a term in architecture or designer,
Mm.
where they learn in their initial days of
Right,
learning
Right.
before they graduate as an interior designer or an architect.
Basically, product knowledge. They should be aware of things how to use, because जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. This is my philosophy. If you're not aware of the product, how will you use it? So yeah, it's good for them.
This is a very good thing that you mentioned because last podcast we did with a very young design agency called House of Hughes, and they were mentioning in their podcast that in college it is very difficult to understand the product line because they were told that there's something which is called engineered wood, but हम लोग ने कभी उसका sample ही नहीं देखा. They were saying there's something which is called PU as a paint, but हम लोग ने कभी polyurethane paint देखा ही नहीं.
Right.
It was all theory but never practical.
Right.
But what you're doing in terms of this will help a lot of people to understand. If you're taking names like brands like Poltron or Floroche Bobois or Fiandre, they will at least have an exposure to these brands before they
Absolutely,
walk
yeah.
into the real world.
So I had given them a case study to design their own store. So I had given them that say your brand is from Paris, okay? You're a designer and you are wanting to do up your store. So what all brands, what are the top 10 brands are there in the design fraternity? You have to make a list and you have to use their design language. So they did a case study of all the brands. I was amazed. I mean,
This sounds interesting to me as well.
no, really, I was shocked. They really did a deep research on it. Who invented it? Where is their factory? The entire process they did it. So it was wonderful. I mean, it's a good thing what I introduced, and they really they're hands on with the brands now.
I think all the colleges should have something which is like this. I think
I'm sure
it is
everybody
Yeah,
need
has.
a need of the hour now, because this is where we are going to, because the new generation which is coming up are well equipped with brands.
So I know Marangoni does have Institute of Marangoni, which is an Italian institute in Bombay, in CJ House. They do have this
Okay,
because my sister was also a designer. She's teaching. She's a faculty there,
all right.
okay,
and alumni also.
Okay,
So they do this process since years.
okay.
okay.
So
But it was never in the Indian Mumbai University
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
It was never there.
never,
But
never.
then you have a faculty who's practicing, and then they didn't do it like yourself. You're
Sorry,
someone who's practicing designing, and you're equipped. Like you were just now in Maison.
yeah,
You're someone who knows brands to the T now, because
yeah.
you know the last update which happened 3 weeks back
Right,
also.
right, right.
Are they exposed to people like yourself?
I
Who
don't
are.
think so. Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. So we need to have this module where people are upgraded, to
Yeah.
to that level.
So it's a must. I mean, that awareness has to be there because what happens is if the new kids they know the brand, it's easier even for a vendor to sell your product. So unless until they see it, they will not use it.
Speaking of brands, I think I have one question that I wanted to ask you, because you will be the best person to answer this. Um, how do you place, because we are in a very competitive market. Everyone, I think, be it Italian, Spanish, American, UK, any brand that walks into India as a market. How important to have quality? Price is one aspect. I know there are a lot of factors when it is there to import a furniture piece, also to tiles as well. How important it is as quality of a product for you, because brand is there because of the quality.
Quality in terms of porcelana
Everything,
or any
everything,
product.
anything,
Any
any
any product.
product,
It's
any
just in
product,
general.
any product.
Okay. So of course we believe in quality. I believe in quality because what happens is you rather use this quality product which goes on for years, or you rather have to break it one year or 2 years down the line. Also, the knowledge of materials, of quality materials, is not shared with us correctly. Like the Indian market, of course, we know Italian brand is a good product, or a Spanish brand, or any brand other than China. We are well averse because we've been using over the years. Somehow the Indian brands, I would say, tile companies from Morbi, hats off to them. I mean, I have been using their products where there is a budget issue, where the quantities are great, and they are fantastic. I mean, uh, they are following, I think, European specs. What I understand is they are exporting a lot of material there, so they have to follow those norms. So it's not that Indian companies are not manufacturing quality material, but it's just that it's not shared correctly. Like if a distributor or a vendor, he is well aware of the product, he is well aware of the knowledge about the product. If he shares it correctly, I think everybody should use it. I mean, it's just that sometimes what happens, a vendor, I mean, sorry to all the vendors, but they don't tell you the reality. They tell you how this material is from Spain, but actually it's from China. I mean, you tell the okay, this is from China, then we will not use it at a place where we know we cannot use it in the outdoors, get spoiled. Yeah, we use it rightly, in a right way. So eventually, the client doesn't have to suffer. So this knowledge has to be shared correctly. Just only by selling a product is not the end of the world. I mean, this is very important because I travel the world. I traveled to China also currently lately. I know every product what is. See, every manufacturer has his own specs, and why the price difference is there is on the material used inside. So, as a designer, if I don't know about it, the vendor should share it with me. Because it's very difficult for us to understand the various 100 products. How will we know what is the quality of
Speaking of vendor approach,
it?
because this is something which is got I got because we are on that fraternity as well.
Yeah.
What is the correct way of vendor approaching you? If I have a product line, I want to
Right.
come and meet you,
Right.
and I want to explain things to you. How do I approach you? How do I
Me as
reach
in person or
as a
design?
As an
person, as a
architect,
person, as
as
an
an
architect,
architect.
as a person?
So I am very open to calls. Sometimes I don't pick up because I'm busy. But my office is accessible. So I always, what I do is, if someone messages me, I forward it to my associate or someone. And then they get samples. I look at the samples and then we call for a brief. But I am always welcome for new products because I am not married to any brand. I'm like I came in today. I have used Fiandre I think 6 years back when we didn't have such a big showroom and I love the product and I used it. So I have to see the product. I have to like it. Technicals have to be good, and even the technicals are not good. I know where to use it. Where it looks good, we'll use it. So my office is very open with all the vendors. I mean, anybody is invited. You just drop in a mail. We love to use if it's new and good. Quality has to be very good.
Nice. All right. Thank you. Because I just met someone from the design fraternity, not naming the person. He's kept a time. He said, like how you have MR times in the doctor's office, he's kept
Yeah.
Wednesday 11 o'clock.
Right.
And you'll see a lot of vendors there. He meets for 2 hours, 3 hours, and he meets everyone. I think that's, of course, he's
See,
restrained and this.
everybody
And
is so busy. Trust
yeah,
me.
it's
Even I'm
difficult.
traveling a lot.
Yeah.
And it becomes very difficult
Yeah.
to give time to so many people,
Yeah.
answer calls.
Yeah.
I get every day I get a WhatsApp, sir, I want to do this. On Insta there is a message.
Yeah.
It becomes very difficult for us to actually give time. It becomes very difficult for us to give time to our clients. The vendors are
Associates
second.
also
Yeah.
at some point in time. I think that's also a challenge.
So yeah, it all depends on the project. So when we do work out of Bombay, it becomes very difficult for one to give time to my own staff in Bombay. They're always complaining, sir, give us time also. You're giving more time to the other staff which are out of Bombay. So I have also parallel staff in Calcutta. So it becomes difficult.
To manage, give time to both of them.
Yes, to both. Yeah, it becomes an. See, I'm a one-man show. I mean, I don't have partners and all. Where things are distributed, and I believe in one thing: everything has to run through me, because I follow that philosophy. Then only you can give your project 100%. If you just, I mean, out of experience, I'm saying my experience. If I give things 100% to any of my staff members or an associate, that finesse doesn't come because I have imagined certain thing in my way. The outcome has to be there and with quality. So that only comes when it's under your process. It's like a baby. The more you nurture, it'll grow that way.
Because you mentioned about an email to be sent, want to understand what attracts you in an email. What attracts you? I mean, people can write AI emails which are like lengthy in pages and subject line or whatever it is.
No, it's just a short email, new product range, and some pictures. I think like I said, जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. Products will talk by itself. If it looks good or is the same typical prototype where everybody is supplying, I will not look at it. If it's interesting, or you just send a sample to the office. Simple. I mean, you want to sell your product, you have to just send a sample to the office. A small sample will do.
This is for my team. I'm
Yeah,
approaching you for a very long time now.
I know your product. You don't have to approach me. I have already used your product before you have gotten
I think you have used Versace as well. From in
Versace
Kolkata,
years back.
Yeah.
Years back. When I think back in Talati Pantaki days. When I remember, you had to specially import and all, as per order. Nothing was on display. No, yes, I remember now. Versace was used in a Hyderabad project. I had picked it up from Dubai. Yeah, one of the Al Gandhi dealer or Al Faruzuni. I don't remember the name. So I remember we had used Versace, the entire bathroom or daughter's bathroom were done in Versace tiles. You know, I'm sure you have traveled.
Yeah.
You see the grout is perfect.
Yeah, grout is perfect.
Perfect. Even the laying of the tile, the leveling and all is just perfect.
Correct.
So it's just the way, even the joinery,
Yeah.
where the part of tile which is cut,
Yeah.
they did design it. I mean, like for example, this joint which is coming up,
Correct.
I would do down because I don't want to see a joint. Because when I look at a tile, the upper ka portion is more visible than niche ka.
Visually.
Visually.
Yeah.
Also, if you're taking a joint up, you take a dummy joint down, it looks balanced.
Symmetrical.
Yes.
Just do a grooving or just
Yeah.
do it there. Yeah.
Or I would not take a vertical joint also. बीच में joint जो लिया ना, I would take a full tile, full tile, full tile. और वो beam को one piece में cut करके लगाने का. So I have certain questions to ask you.
I'll
you
get
know,
comfortable now. Yeah.
Because
No.
you are sourcing all the materials from various parts of Europe and everything. So I want to know what is the difference in your product and your competitor.
I'll take it as brand wise.
Right,
Like we have majorly 5 brands which we work with.
right,
What we have hold the monopoly of in India.
right,
One of which it's Fiandre, which you have already used
right.
6-7 years ago. So in Fiandre, I'll just talk about more about it because now there is a difference or competitor part which is coming up. So the polishing of Fiandre, what you see in any product, in a polished product of Fiandre, we use a mechanical polish product.
Right.
Usually in any other company in the world, they use a chemical polishing way, or they have a sugar layer on it, a glass layer.
Right.
Whatever you typically see in Indian, in a lot of Turkish or Chinese product, you see a layer of one glass going above the base of the tile. So आपका 10 mm का एक
So it's
thickness,
sandwiched.
करेक्ट. सो आपका 10 mm का एक जब टाइल रहता है तो उसके ऊपर यू कैन सी अ थिन लेयर ऑफ ग्लास.
Okay.
सो
So
क्रश्ड
it's like
ग्लास.
a film,
करेक्ट.
like a polycarbonate film.
Yes. So because of which
Any product that you choose.
yes, any product.
Apart from Fiandre.
Yeah,
Right.
apart from Fiandre.
Okay.
So
We
उसके
are talking about our brands also here. Where
Yeah,
we are
yeah.
doing
So what
products.
does Fiandre do?
they have a mechanically polished. They do it on the body.
Okay.
So आपका जब whatever thickness, example I'm just
So
taking,
how do you polish a marble? They do exactly that way.
exactly.
So
sir.
they put resin,
Yes.
Exactly.
epoxy resin,
Yes.
and
Exactly.
they grind it and polish it.
Yes, sir.
So every tile is done.
Yes,
Of
sir.
course, it must be done
It
in
does
machine polish.
in the
It's
factory
a
only.
length of
It's
product
a machine
it goes in,
polish.
yeah.
It's a
Yes.
line polish we call
Yes.
it. Yeah. Okay.
So that is done in the factory only. So because of which what we achieve, I mean, ठीक है इसका अभी plus क्या? So the best part is because of this, anything done on the body becomes your part of the body.
Strength is increased.
Like how you do a tattoo on the body,
Right.
it is not any one
But
layer
what
above
about
the
the
body.
air gaps then?
Where
Pinholes and air gaps.
so that is the formula which we use.
Okay, that's the technology.
That's the technology what we have.
Right.
And because of which you get 100% reflection, a mirror reflection of
Right. Yeah, I see your glaze is much better than other tiles.
glaze is much better, the quality is much better.
So you mean to say your product is patent for all this? No other brand in the world is doing this?
It is not patent, but this is the formula which we have achieved. Like आपका एक डेक्स्टर का हम लोग का एक फॉर्मूला रहता है,
Right.
वो किसी के पास नहीं रहता.
So no other brand is following this? Why is that so?
Because this is an expensive thing to do.
Ah, so that's where the catch is.
That's where the catch is.
Right.
And for this, not every company in the world is able to achieve that high gloss if it is done on the body.
Okay.
There are errors which we have overcome in years.
Right.
Like हमारा जो polishing 7 साल पहले जब आपने product use किया था, तब का polishing quality and
Yeah,
आज
you
का
learn
polishing
as-
quality. We have
as per
evolved
years.
in
Right.
past
I
7
understand.
years.
Right.
So that is one. Second is flexibility.
Okay.
So what do I mean by flexibility? Like we have majority of the products in 6 mm thickness. So in that, what we achieve is you can use the same product anywhere. A same product can be used on the floor,
Right.
on the wall, facade, interior, exterior, countertops. So anywhere, a same product. So when I talk about in interior, you can use it on a dining top as well.
Right.
So because of the flexibility, it's very thin, 6 mm, it can, you can waviness जो रहता
So you mean to say your product is stronger than any other tile? You would say that?
है in terms, yes, with thickness of 6 mm.
No, I understand. But it's since you said you can use it on a dining table top, it has to be stronger also. Because you know how Indians are. I mean, they are a bit rough in terms of usage. I wouldn't say, but they are rough a bit. So it has to be stronger. Also, I think your product is 0 mm bend, right?
Exactly. So I was coming to the third
Right.
point. So wherein you see undulations. So usually क्या होता है आपको joint में दिखता है कि ऐसे जाके taper हो जाती है.
Right, right.
So that taperness you will not find. So that we have something known as 0.005, which is the industry norm, जो usually आपका एक technical detail रहता है.
Right.
In terms of bendness, that we are almost
So that
negligible.
tolerance is there.
Yeah, that tolerance is almost negligible.
So that's why I can lay it on the floor, the entire slab.
Exactly. So even when you lay it in the facade, अब usually आप और कोई product जब देखते हो in the market when you use
Right.
for the facades also, so where the joint comes in terms of वो polished product में ज़्यादा दिखता है because it's a gloss,
I know.
it will reflect.
I understand.
So when it will look like a tapered one. So in this you will find a flat surface. So
Right.
that's again a beauty
Okay.
over above that. Fourth is it's a homogeneous body.
Okay.
So homogeneous body means, now coming back to the first point, कि हम लोग जो भी चीज़ करते हैं that is done on the body. Usually आपका जब printing process भी होता है, so we do it over the body. So we're doing on the body. So anything done on the body is more better
Okay.
rather than doing over the body.
All right.
So that is why no layers of any printing, no layers of any polishing,
Right.
and that is the reason we are very good in terms of quality.
Yeah, quality for sure. Italians are masters in quality. But also the price point, which is, I would say, since it's a tile, not a marble, uh, look is similar, not the same. Of course, technically, you're a step ahead. Why the price is a big difference? Like it's a massive difference.
I would say because porcelain, you buy anything porcelain. I'm just now terming it in general.
Right.
आपको you get a thing known as bone china in terms of crockery and cutlery.
Right. Right.
So bone china is cheaper,
Right.
but when you buy porcelain,
Right.
it's always expensive.
Can you brief what is porcelain actually?
You want me to do that?
Yeah,
All right,
please.
cool. Okay. I'll just break things in a very simplified way to a layman.
I mean, we are aware of porcelain, cutlery and all, but a tile porcelain, I just want to understand the whole process of it. I mean, I can share it with my students also.
Perfect,
Yes,
cool.
yes,
So
sure.
porcelain stoneware as an industry started back in 1961 is when the brands established like Fiandre. I'm talking about the group, Atlas Concord Group, Fiandre. I'm talking only about Italian products.
Right, right.
So these brands, they had their own thing when they were making ceramic material. And then they verged into creating, this is 60s I'm talking about. Then in 90s, there was a verge of when people started making porcelain stoneware. Porcelain stoneware is an average material, which is what we call as large slabs.
Called as?
Large slabs.
Large slabs.
Anything which is large slabs is porcelain stoneware.
Right.
If you Google today and see what is vitrified tiles, you will
Right.
find something which says anything which has got low porosity is called vitrified tiles. This is just a Google answer, even if you do it. I think I'll add something on the editing
Yeah.
also. If you Google porcelain stoneware, it says anything, any material which has got porosity which is less than 0.05%
Okay.
is porcelain stoneware, which is water absorption level. अब ये हो गया कि in Italian industry, everyone got into a race of creating something which is more superior. In that race also,
Like
someone is
always.
achieving 0.04, 0.03, 0. So Fiandre as a brand is 0.01% in porosity,
Oh,
which is as good as glass.
right.
So this is where the whole race started. So speaking about porcelain stoneware, that's one part. Other thing is, I think Varun sir is not there on the podcast. This is his way of explaining the product. He says any skin that you have, if the skin is good, you don't have to apply a lot of foundation or makeup on it.
It's self-breathe.
Correct.
Correct.
So the body of Fiandre as a group, which is I'm talking about the entire Iris Ceramica group and Fiandre being the major flower of it, they achieved the highest quality of body in terms of product.
Okay.
Other people, when we spoke about the moment you see the tapers end and the glossy tile, it's
Right.
because they're pouring something on top and they're filming it.
Right.
जब वो pour करते हैं ना, वो edge पे से जो resin रहता है वो
Understood.
drip दिखा रहता है.
Right.
But this is on the surface. When we speak about porcelain stoneware, there's one major thing which we miss out as a product, and I think it's a good platform that you're speaking, and it's a good question that you've asked us. Porcelain stoneware as a product is something which is researched and it is there according to European standards.
Right.
There's a brief standard list of roughly about 20 points that you have to achieve. If I say it's a 6 mm thickness, I can't go below 5.8 mm and I can't go above 6.2 mm.
Okay.
It has to be in that range of 6 mm. If I speak about straightness of sides, there has to be a certain level of degree that the side should be. There's something which is called calibration. जब आप tile
Right.
4 tiles साथ में
Yeah, I
लगाओ,
know,
that calibration has to happen. When we speak about now, this is something which is very important. I think Sharan bhai mentioned it. There's something which is called flexion resistance of a tile. The tile has to have a flexibility when you make it, जो हमारे यहाँ पे 9 mm 10 mm tiles में नहीं मिल पाती है.
Oh.
So there's a flexibility to the material. When you're applying to a surface, you can have certain degree of bend to the material. Rather than the tile being bent, the tile is flexible now, which is
Nice.
also important. There's one thing which is very important according to the Indian standards, which we normally don't follow, which is your skid rating. India में वो चीज़ अभी थोड़ी दूर है. I think we'll come to that level of rating material, which is R-rated material, R11, R12,
Yeah, I'm aware of it.
R13.
European standards are there.
Which is
Anti-skid has a rating. Yeah,
correct,
I
which
know.
is not there currently in our industry. It says it is
Like I
anti-skid.
remember, I know all the hotels are mandatory. All the Marriotts and Hyatts
Correct.
have an R
R11.
rating
Yes.
for all the driveways.
You need to have
Correct.
for
minimum.
wheelchair, yeah, steps, everything.
Correct,
Yeah, I
correct.
remember.
Which you get in porcelain stoneware, and these all product. Even if you
Okay.
take one slab from me, you get a proper certificate
Right.
of what are the standards to it.
Understood.
So you as a designer, you know that you're relying on something
Right.
which is researched. I can start a company tomorrow and produce the same thing here, but am I being able to do that? It's the same thing that I'll add here.
So you're following all the norms
Correct. A designer
and you're
is not
justifying
paid.
your product.
Correct. You're not paid for the first side that you're doing or the current side you're doing. You're paid for the experience that you've had.
Right.
So what you're paying for is the last 40-45 years of experience which has gone into that whole
Got it.
research part.
Understood.
Of course, it becomes expensive in terms of the product. I think rest of the things, I think it's still manageable for the other brands. But when it comes to Fiandre as a brand, because they use high quality of product, their raw materials are expensive compared to. I think we were in a situation where just speaking on the podcast, when we had a war between Russia and Ukraine, and we used to get major costs of
Yeah.
our product as raw material from Ukraine. The productions were stopped in Europe. But they didn't go to any other thing that, they stopped the production. They said, we don't want to produce, we don't want to take the name of the brand into jeopardy that we're producing
We don't want to
something else.
degrade the quality of the raw
We will
materials.
stop
what
the
we use.
production unless and until the other things are resolved. But we want to use the quartz which is of higher, superior quality.
So no Indian brands are doing porcelain?
So they do. They have just started.
Okay. Because India is a brilliant market, big market. I'm sure these all the manufacturers from Gujarat, they must be introducing the material and manufacturing it sooner or later.
Again, putting another thing, because I think this is what he normally mentions. फरारी खरीदना है ना ज़ेद, तो 6 लाख रुपए के EMI का जुगाड़ करना है सिर्फ. बट हर आदमी शू मेकर बने वो इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है. सो वी कैन गेट द मशीन्स फ्रॉम देयर, बट टू ऑपरेट एट दैट सर्टेन डिग्री इज ऑल्सो इम्पोर्टेंट,
Understood.
which will happen. I'm not saying it is not happening, which will happen in next 10 years. We'll see that revolution. But उसके बाद वो लोग और 10 साल आगे हो जाएंगे. So we'll have something that gap will always be there.
Yeah.
I think what they're doing today in terms of our Indian manufacturing also, and we are very proud that we are doing this in India. This is what I will also mention, that when we're getting the machines from Italy, it is good that we're doing it. We've got large lens slabs. I think Continua, Sacmi, these machines are coming to India now. We need to follow the European standards. If it has to be, the material has to be baked at 1230 degree, bake it at 1200 degree.
Yes.
If it has to be baked for 8 hours, bake it for 8 hours. Don't do the process of baking it for 6 hours at 1000 degree just to save cost.
Understood.
So that is very important to do. I think we will achieve. I think a lot of material.
It's matter of time that we
Yeah,
will
yeah,
achieve
I'm
for
sure.
Yeah, we
But
will reach there. I'm not
we
saying.
will reach there,
yeah.
but then the
It
Europe is
all
again 10
depends.
years ahead.
All depends on our specifications.
Yeah,
Correct.
Yeah,
I
agreed.
would say if the architect or designer
Yeah.
specifies,
Yeah.
you have to use this product,
Yeah.
this rating has to be compulsory.
Simple as water
Eventually,
absorption
they
level.
will also have to follow because the demand is asking
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
They will have to manufacture those.
Exactly.
things,
The
yes.
same thing is like if you do a work in Europe, you're building a house, There are specific norms over
Absolutely,
there set by the government
yeah.
itself.
Yeah.
So that is the reason they follow all the European standard you have to follow, and so forth. You have to use those kind of materials not only in terms of tiles but in other products as
No, I am aware of this because many years back, I was designing a lobby in Australia, in Sydney, a hotel lobby. So we had a local architect, and I was just doing the design part. So when the material specification came, so he mentioned that the driveway has to be R-rated, anti-skid, granite, bush hammered, and this etc. etc. You know, so all the detailed specification came in, and the owner was a friend of mine, actually Indian guy. So he told me very clearly that we have to follow these norms. Otherwise, anybody tomorrow, if someone falls, if it's anti-skid, he'll sue us. So this particular thing has to be followed in India. I mean, it's good that these products are available now. We can at least pitch for it. You know, I mean, ask for
and
it.
also that we are proud in saying that Fiandre as a brand, we always have the knack of launching new technology, newer products for the first time to the market.
Yeah.
Oh,
So why the price
so
difference
you are
again?
very innovative.
Yeah.
Exactly. So why the price difference is to get the innovation done. एक होता है सर आपका you follow someone या आपने कुछ copy कर लिया. एक
Right.
होता है जिसने innovation किया. So we are the innovators in
Yeah.
terms of technology.
So if you see the Patagonia that we have currently,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
got 3 different finishes.
Yes. I like the blue one. Yeah, it's really nice. Very unreal. Because the real Patagonia is not blue. It's very different, but it's nice. It's you. Otherwise, you know, the Indian tile, they have also manufactured Patagonia. It's very, I mean, similar to what you get, but the blue tinge really enhances a lot. You know.
Now coming to that also we have introduced something known as glint technology.
Okay.
So which is like in marble you have mica.
Right.
जो आप एक शीन देखते हो कोई भी
Right.
एक मार्बल के ऊपर. Now the company is getting into more closer towards a look of a marble. So
Okay.
wherein the glint technology is coming in. Now that is going to be little more expensive. So as and when the production also increases of the same
Understood.
material, so we'll also do the cost cutting.
So the look and feel will be like a real product.
Correct.
Because the quarries are now going extinct with a lot of stones. I'll ask you this question. You're practicing for last, I think, 25 years now. The quality of Satwari that you used to get at that price 25 years back, are you able to get that now?
We get it at a price, but
This is what I'm
Exactly.
saying. Because
Because
now
the
it is
extinct.
rare. It is.
no. See, Satwario is a different thing. One quarry in the world, 4 owners, so they are mafia. They are ruling it. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say mafias. They are my friends, but they are ruling the market. You know, I mean, they and Italians are masters in marketing a product. I've been working with them since so many years. If an Indian brand wants to sell their product, they should market it through an Italian. And trust me, they are the best. They are genius. I mean, such a small country, and they are into everything. They're into cars, interiors, lighting, fashion, food, everything. You name it, they are into. You know, I mean, they are really masters.
Speaking about car, I think Fiandre is one of the major
Yeah.
stakeholders in, I think, Ferrari as well.
Ferrari, like-
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they are like close friends.
Fiandre is a family name, right?
The
Yeah.
Fiandre is, so there's a group called Iris Ceramica Group,
Okay.
in which you have got multiple brands which fall under the category, which has got.
But Fiandre would be a family name. Because a lot of Italian companies follow family name.
Yeah, it's a family name.
Right.
Another thing that I want to add here when we spoke about quality, because I was speaking with someone who's from the health industry, sir.
Right. Bacteria.
That's one part. What is happening is to reduce the cost, we use substandard material, which is lead, cadmium.
Right.
अब ये चीज़ आपको और मेरे को नहीं पता चलती है,
Right.
but over the period of time, these emit those gases.
Understand.
When you use kids-friendly material or BPA-free material, in terms of plastic, you know कि इसके अंदर वो चीज़ें use नहीं हुई हैं.
Right. Right.
Why not in the surfaces? Because उससे ज़्यादा touch and feel आपका इसमें, आप इसके contact में ज़्यादा आ रहे हो. You're living in a box which is made of this material.
Yeah, you're breathing that.
Correct.
So you need to have that material with you. वो was recently in discussion with someone, we were talking about bathroom fittings, and I said, पानी वही है, but पानी जो आने का रास्ता है ना, वो पहले ब्रास का पाइप हुआ करता था, अब वो प्लास्टिक हो गया और वो आ रहा निकल में से. Of course बीमारियां बढ़ेगी because we are not paying attention to what it is. वही नल था जो 250 रुपए का आता था, that stopcock, Today it is the same price. Why? Because they've gone down on the quality of the products.
Degraded the material, mixing and everything. You're right.
So that is very important of what kind of product that we are using, what quality. We don't research, okay, this is expensive, okay, this is expensive. Why it is imported? It is important. No. But what has gone in terms of making that product is also very important.
Yeah.
Where we say it is not lead and zinc. वो एक बहुत छोटा सा logo आता है on the catalog, lead and zinc free.
I think that logo should be a highlight. I mean, I see those small things behind, but nobody's really gone into and seen what is it all about. Yeah.
That thing,
Correct.
yeah.
So like even our factory is the first one to do a hydrogen plant. So everything run in hydrogen.
Green.
Green.
We are already green, but hydrogen plant is 100% green.
Right.
So nothing is used. There are no kind of chemicals, factory
No
run,
emission, nothing.
no emissions, nothing. So they are giving back to the society as well. So from where they will earn is
No,
by
but I
selling the
know
product.
EU standards are very tough. To
Yeah.
follow.
Yeah, very tough
They are
to
very
achieve.
strict.
If I'm running a factory on hydrogen versus running a factory on something which is, something which is emitting gases, not to name any fuel, but of course I'll be expensive
They
because
are very
I'm
particular in
yeah.
pollution. I know
Correct.
So it is all about the product that you're buying for your house. I think it is very important to use a correct product, correct quality product for your house. We are not talking about Italian versus anywhere else in the world or other world versus Italians. Nothing of that sort. Even if you're getting material outside that European belt also, just go and look at once what material it is made from. The Italians are very transparent. You can go online and search because this is what happens. You can
that. No, I'm sure all European nations are transparent.
you can
Not
go on the
only
website called
Italians.
UPEC. There's a certification. You can check what are the raw materials and what proportion it has gone inside.
Right.
But for us, it is, I think, a lot of
उधर जुगाड़ नहीं होता है in our language.
Yes. और इंडिया में सब चीज वो जुगाड़ के चलते हुए.
Yeah.
But no, I know
We are
changing.
We are changing.
Of course we
There
are
is a
changing.
Good
change.
shift.
Yeah.
And it's a very positive shift. And I'm sure eventually we will be at par at EU. I mean, especially where hygiene is concerned, things to be used, ratings and everything. I'm sure we will achieve that one day.
So I think what you've asked is a very important question. No one asks us this, and we got an opportunity to answer this.
No, it's a must because knowledge has to be shared. Like every day is a learning process. So if I don't know the product, I'm just using it just for the look of it. It's not justified. I would want to know the technicals of it. This is what I believe in, and I share it with the client. Like I know the leather now used. We have Jain clients now. Okay, and they're like, no, we don't want to use leather so far. But now it's a EU norm, I believe now, that it is not from the slaughtered animal. The leather is not from a slaughtered animal, so you're not killing the animal. Otherwise, originally leather was used. I mean, I remember you get, Indian sweet kaju katli, and the foil of the chandi is beaten by the gai ka chamda. Now that is stopped, but early on days it used to happen. When people came to know, they stopped eating that varak. So it's just a transformation and knowledge has to be shared. I mean, if a person is paying so much, why is he paying? For what is he paying? He should know.
So there are a lot of things like technical is one. I mean, we can emphasize.
Of course, look and feel is always there.
It's always there, like color pigmentation, what we use,
Right.
the depth of the product.
Right.
So there are so and so forth. I mean, you are already well aware of the
Yeah,
same.
yeah.
I think if you have a process which is correct, rest everything look and feel will fall in place, which is perfect. Even for a basic concrete looking tile which is not glazed or anything, if you
Right.
look at open a panel of Fiandre versus any other brand that I'll say, you'll see that detail because it is very basic to achieve a concrete looking tile, right? But
Right.
when you see that product versus the other product, it makes sense.
No, I'm sure after application it does show. It makes a big difference.
And the idea of the store was to give that experience with that space, that
Yes.
viewing space.
This
That visibility is there. You can actually feel the product. Touch and feel is very important. Like I believe in touch and feel because anybody sends me a picture, I said no, I want a sample. I want to feel it, see it. I want to see how it will eventually look. Because in an image and in sample, it's a big difference. So here, what display you all have done is really fantastic, you know, and such a big space in Bombay. Wow.
And
Thank
only
you.
dedicated to surfaces. You're not doing anything
Yes,
else.
yes.
Yeah, because we want the client to come in and the architect should come in
Yeah.
with the
Also,
whole.
your application is nice. You know,
So,
laid big size tile,
Yeah.
so one
correct.
can. Otherwise, the client is hesitant. You know, और इतना बड़ा slab लगाएंगे
6
कैसे?
mm कैसा
कैसा
लगेगा
हाँ,
floor
लगेगा,
कैसा
पे.
लगेगा?
टूट
Yeah.
So
जाएगा,
that is good. You know.
Yeah,
Also, then it gives confidence to the designer and the contractor.
Yeah.
correct.
Otherwise, contractor पहले ही बोलेगा साहब टूट जाएगा हमारा गारंटी
हाँ.
नहीं. Client says और इतना बड़ा slab महंगा
Finished
है.
a call today morning, same
Ah,
thing.
it's so expensive. Tomorrow it breaks. I'm not going to take the onus. You know.
Yeah.
So
So,
it's good. It's good. You all have done this.
thank you.
A nice showroom where you see every product, and it really gives you a. I mean, you get that confidence to use it also when you
Yeah.
see it.
Correct, correct.
So
So
that's
that
good.
that was a sir. I think I'll come to a part. Why before getting the space, we had this thought in mind.
Right.
The products were always available in the market.
Right.
It was not that we are bringing something new to the market.
Right.
The product is already tried and tested since 12 years.
Right.
We have been working closely with Fiandre. Since 4 years, we are working closely with ML. We are working since 7 years with Versace. So these products are already there in the market through various channels.
Yeah.
But we wanted to showcase or represent ourselves in a different way.
Right.
So the whole idea came from that yeah, we are getting the best of the best products in the world. Now how to showcase it?
Right.
That was the stage that where we wanted to come in and show it to the world that what we are doing and what you are getting or what you are buying, why you are paying that much. So the whole idea came from that. The baby step was that. Then the space came into the picture. Then the designing part when it came. So we sat down on pen and paper with our designer Manish Dikshit, who has done fabulous work
No.
Right.
with us. So we went through a process that we wanted to show different applications, like you said.
Right.
So that was the whole intention, rather than showing only tiles and panels. एक बेसिक कहीं पे भी हम जाते हैं पूरे इंडिया में कि आपको खाली पैनल और टाइल दिखते हैं, but doing a proper application with sense of space, what height you're getting,
Right.
the vision where you're standing and looking at the product,
Right.
that whole thing came into the picture and we curated this space. That was the whole intention, that कि हम कैसे
I have
करेंगे.
a very short phrase for you. Your tile is an art. It's very well displayed.
Thank you so much. I mean, now we should use it as a logo.
Yeah.
I'll take the royalty of it. So
Cool.
we are getting to the rapid Italiano now.
Rapid
Rapid
Italiano
Italiano.
round as named by Pulin sir. Yes. Of course, you're the only one who's winning the hamper because you're the only guest with us. But this whole questionnaire is more or less a little on the psychometric test side. If someone who's listening to the whole conversation and then just listen to the rapid fire round, he understands you as a person.
Okay.
So we have some questions. Little quirky, little funny. You just have to take time and answer. It's also fine. First question is what I ask. If your job title were a superhero name, what would your job title be?
Hanuman.
All right, nice. Nice. Interesting. And why?
Because I'm religious. And you know, every superhero, the last name is MAN, if you see. Superman, Spider-Man. So he's the god of everyone.
Oh, that's nice.
Nice. Okay. If okay, what is the weirdest source of inspiration that you have drawn from for a project or a part of your project? Weirdest source of inspiration.
I was driving through the Eastern Freeway. You know, so when you get onto that Masjid Bandar bridge, which is shut right now. So there was a small, you know, that typical hut. Huh? And he had a small old radio, you know, on top of a tire. Okay, it's a very unique design inspiration where he got a tire which was hung on a string और उसके खाचे में उसने वो रेडियो फिट किया था. Okay, so I somehow thought of a design to do a TV unit out of it. That was a real different. I mean, I can't explain you, but the whole scenario, it was stuck so well because the plastic radio had those lines, the antenna was this way, and the whole circle के बीच में वो पूरा fit था ऐसे, and the tire was hung on the string, that rassi. It was very smart. So what I designed was, I designed like a leather belt with a circle arch and the TV in between. So that was a real different inspiration.
What is the funniest incident that would have happened on your site?
Funniest incident would be going to a site on Sunday where nobody works. Like it happened. I remember I was where I was in Chennai, I think, and I landed on Saturday night, and the meeting was on Sunday morning. But apparently, the client had shifted the meeting at 3 o'clock, and nobody was there. And landed at 9 o'clock in the morning on site, and like, where is everyone? And that was a very weird incident that happened. Because I'm a very workaholic, whenever I travel, I am always 8 o'clock or 8:30. I'm off. I have breakfast and leave. I don't wait till long. I have very long working hours when I'm outstation.
If your designs were an ice cream flavor, what
Ice-
flavor the clients would get?
Caramel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any reason?
It's just been my favorite flavor.
Now, if your designs were a movie genre,
So it would be really inspired by Tom Cruise. He's my favorite star. With all the possibilities, all the works what he does, endless stunts he does. So I would try and design uh, his graphics and his stunts, and something very different, very innovative and very tech.
now if your designs were a season,
A season, spring.
okay, reason?
It's beautiful. I mean, it's nature. You see, it's breathable. It's eye soothing. You see a lot of colors, around where nature just, it's a palette of your interiors. It just transforms the whole palette to the interiors.
Question which is together with this is if your designs were a travel destination.
Travel destination, Italy, my favorite. I mean, till day, Milano, Duomo is my favorite. I see to that every year when I go for the exhibition. I stay near the Duomo. I just spend 15 minutes near the cathedral, sit down on the steps, just see the architecture and wonder how people did this architecture in those days. I mean, it's a sight to see. I would say every one of you who has never been to Milan, especially Duomo, must visit. See man-made what they created, and even our CST station, the Victoria Terminal. You see the architecture now; it's lit up so beautifully. It's amazing. I mean, those days they didn't have the works and how they did it.
Okay, if your design studio, Kal Design, had a theme song,
Theme song, Aja, Aja. I would tell this to all the clients.
If your designs were a vehicle, would they be a sleek sport car, a vintage bike, or something else?
So I would do a car, design a car which can fly also.
Wow.
okay,
Like a convertible car so now cars have come out which can go in the sea also. So I would design a car which is on land and air also. I think that's the future.
I think that is the future now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
बॉम्बे में तो बहुत जरूरत है.
ट्रैफिक में तो
बॉम्बे में पोल्यूशन मिलेगा ऊपर, दिखेगा ही नहीं कुछ. हाँ, visibility. Delhi and Bombay, you'll see nothing. In fact, you have more accidents in the air.
Agreed.
Yeah. Moving on to the next. If your designs were a famous work of art, which one would they be?
So every artist has his own creativity, and every art is a good art. So I would get inspired by Patrick. He's a London-based, UK-based artist. In fact, I just saw his work at the Maison. He is brilliant. I mean, amazing stuff. He does paint in the 3D form. So you stand here and stand here, the angles are different in paint. He's brilliant. Yeah. So I would implement his design language into my work as well, you know.
Moving on to the next. If your designs were a board game, which one would they be?
A board game, black and white,
Chess.
chess,
All right.
classic. Classic. Black and white is always great. Classic is forever.
I think I'll ask one
Yeah.
more. I think the last one I'll ask one more. I think it's more of advice. I think it's one thing that you want to tell your fellow designers or architects. One thing is as something is like a feedback or suggestion or something that from your side.
Use quality, believe in quality. Design is a secondary thing. Because if it stays forever, it's forever.
Correct.
Nice, nice. I think.
And
thank
with
you
that,
so much. Think-
we
I
complete
think-
our rapid fire.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
Zaid. Thank you so
thank you,
much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you, sir.
Pleasure meeting you.
Pleasure.
Thank you for
Thank you
inviting.
so much, sir. Please,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
Just speak a little bit about your experience over KYAD. This is for us.
So I think you all have done a brilliant job calling all the designers, interacting. I'm sure it's the best way for uh, everyone to know us in person. You know, sometimes people think he's very arrogant, he doesn't give time, but we are not that. Trust me, you fall into our shoes, you see our daily practice. It's very difficult. We can't give time to our family. Trust me. I hear my kids, my wife complaining all the time because we are so dedicated and involved in our work. And we are human beings as well. I mean, trust me, nobody is arrogant. Nobody has that air. Oh, you know, I hear sometimes, "Arey, usko time nahi hai, oh, phone uthata nahi hai." But it's not that. It's just that we are preoccupied with everything, and our time is given to the client eventually, you know, and our projects. So please believe in. Don't believe in all the fake things.
Rumors.
Not rumors, I would say. People just talk about it. We are nice people. We are human beings as well.
One thing that you want to say about KYAD. One thing, just one thing for us.
I like the way you're going.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the right way of approach,
Yeah.
I would say. And like I said, you should have interactive sessions for students also.
Please,
Who are
yes.
designers coming in now,
Yeah.
future designers.
Yeah.
Because if the younger generation learns, they can pass it on and pass it on to others.
Correct.
Also, you should invite contractors.
Hmm.
Okay.
Very important.
Yeah,
Because if the contractor knows how to use the product
yeah.
and knows the product, he will eventually also push the
Propose it to
client.
the
Which
Push
is
the
I think we
contractor-
spoke about this
which
1
was-
week back.
See, a
yeah.
contractor is an engine to the whole the show. You
True.
know?
Yeah.
I mean, we are the design perspective,
Yeah.
but he's also an engine to the whole
Agreed,
source.
agreed.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think a contractor also should be educated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, what happens is a contractor is never educated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he even most expensive material,
Yeah.
he will not use it in the right way. The product is gone for a fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the best way is to approach a contractor also
Yeah.
I think
and have sessions. You know, I think Fevicol used to do back old days. I remember
yeah.
how to use their application. They used to have team contractor team meets,
Workshops.
workshops.
Yeah.
How to apply the SR, SH grade, SR
Yeah.
grade,
Correct.
the different varieties.
Yeah.
I think it's a must.
Correct. Educating contractors.
Education is the only way
Yeah.
for success. I mean,
Yeah.
Agreed. I think we were. I
We
was
are planning
mentioning-
something.
Yeah, I was
same.
mentioning to one of the contractors I recently spoke with. He is a designer, but he tend to become a contractor because of the way his whole career has gone through. He told me that a designer is important because he's the magician. और वो magician के पास में मालूम है वो एक assistant होती है who knows how the illusion will happen, and then he's somewhere taking care of the other things where the whole attention is on the magician. That's how the contractor works on the side. He's not given that importance, but he's the one who's creating the illusion for the magician. So he's someone who's not celebrated as much, but he's very important on
it's
site.
just the car. You design the car. If the engine is not good, the car will not run. So contractor is the engine, and we are the designers. Is that way.
All right, sir. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
coming in.
Thank you.
It was a
Pleasure's
pleasure
all
hosting
mine.
you. We loved the way you have interacted with us. I
Thank
think
you
it is
so much.
very important for
Yes.
people like you to share your experience, because we've seen the whole pattern of people who are viewing us are in the age bracket of someone who's currently graduating from college and the people who are currently working in some architecture or designer office who wants to start something of their own. So that's the bracket that we have people of, and people like you inspire a lot of people who are on that stage. I think your journey and experience will help a lot of people, sir.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have just one quote. This is
Please.
my
Yes.
personal
Please,
quote
please,
sir.
please.
to all the viewers.
Yeah.
Please.
A good design is expensive, but the best.